Good morning, everyone, and welcome to JB's Football Weekly, where I digest the big stories in football, both locally and nationally as well. Later on, we're going to look at the Lionesses' victory and Joey Barton's, shall we say, disrespectful comments on the victory. And then before that, we'll look at the plight of Morecambe Football Club and how sad a demise it has been for one of the nicer Lancashire clubs in this particular region. But first we've got to start with Burnley's transfer activity. This week has seen Burnley was two of their biggest and best players. Obviously we'll start with the good news that Maxime Esteri is staying, which was great for him and it's great for the football club. That's good news for the football club and I'm glad he's staying. What isn't so good is Josh Brownhill's, the timing of... Listen, we knew that Trafford and Brownhill were going to go, but the timing of them is questionable. Listen, and I will delve into the Trafford one in a minute because I think Matt Williams and Owen Pace could have got better for them. And where do I think Burnley will go in the window? I don't know. Well, let's look at Brownhill's announcement. Now, Brownhill, I think it Sunday or Monday, I think it was 48 hours ago, issued a statement. I'm moving on to pastures new, blah de blah de blah. Why wasn't this announced a month ago, a month and a half ago? Then we could have, like, fair enough, you know, I'd have been happy. Listen, nothing against Josh Brownhill going to try new things. He's had 5.5 great years with us. You know, he's won 2 promotions with us. You know, fair enough. You know what I mean? No problem. But the timing of it was all wrong. It's terribly disappointing from that perspective. Not dissing Josh Brownhill in any way, shape or form, because he was a great servant to Burnley Football Club when others did desert the sinking ship, especially when company got us unceremoniously relegated and just over a year or two back. You know, he stayed. He skippered the side really well last season. Did really well. You know, that day against Sheffield United we'll always remember forever and a day. But the problem is the timing of it. If he just said at the end of the season, at the end of May or early June, I've decided to try my luck elsewhere, no problem. I would not have had an issue whatsoever. And it would have convinced me that we would have had ample time to get a replacement in no time. But they've just pussyfooted around Pace and Matt Williams and as a result, he's leaving 3 weeks before the big kick-off. Now, there's talk of him going abroad. There's been talk of him going to America. There's been a lot of talk about Celtic involvement. To be honest with you, I'm not bothered where he goes as long as he does well. I think that's the main thing. But the anger with me is to have it announced 3 weeks before the big kick-off is disgraceful. Now the James Trafford thing, again, like Brownhill, we knew it was coming, but once again, have we done it too late perhaps? Why wasn't Williams and Pace doing this sooner? And another criticism I would have of the pair of them why didn't they negotiate £10 million more on the price? £27 million it's been reported that Trafford is leaving for Manchester City. Now, I've no problem again with James Trafford going to Manchester City. It's the timing and the transfer fee that annoy me more than anything else. I'm not unhappy that Trafford's left. Listen, you know, Pep Guardiola's made his stance clear on the issue. You know, he wants Trafford back, and I can understand that. He's had an exceptional season, and he thinks that Trafford will be a much better alternative as a number 2 to Stefan Ortega. So, you know, no qualms about that. Trafford is a top quality goalkeeper. You know, he got into the England squad at the back end of last year based on his performances. So it hasn't gone unnoticed by Thomas Tuchel. But the timing of it again, and I've got to aim criticism, not for the first time, at Alan Pace and Matt Williams. They're just not getting their fingers out their arses to actually negotiate a better price. And again, the announcement, it's 3 weeks before kick. What's Scott Parker meant to do in 3 weeks? We kick off at Tottenham in less than 3 weeks. What's he meant to do? Play bigger in goal? It's not good enough. It's not good enough from the board. And then, you know, we had a deal for Stefan Ortega that fell through. Now, whose fault was that? Was it Williams? Was it Pace? Are they too busy pissing around in Barcelona with Espanyol? Apart from Kyle Walker, and Johan and Jacob and Larson, who, in my opinion, are class players anyway. The rest of the summer window has been a disgrace. We haven't signed enough players. We haven't even signed a quality striker. Now, Zian Furman aside, the strikers we got, Ashley Barnes is just there for the dressing room. What's Lara Foster doing? He's injury prone, and when he does play, he isn't good enough. I mean, 2 goals in the bloody championship last year proves my point. Big style. He's not good enough. I've never, admittedly one of those came against Rovers, but we want to see that on a consistent basis. I was against him being signed for us 3 years ago, and everyone said give him a chance. I've given him nearly 3 years now, and that's my stance on him, and I'm not budging on that. So we now need a quality goalkeeper. We need another centre back. We need a quality midfielder to replace the outgoing Brownhill, and we need a class striker with Zian as a backup possibly. Wingers we're fine with, Roberts, Roberts can play any, can be versatile as well. So, yeah, we need at least another 4 or 5 quality players if we're going to stand a massive chance of staying up. But I'm hearing rumours that we're going to do it cheaply. I mean, you can't do things on the cheap. I'm sorry, you're in the Premier League. You're against the big boys. You have to spend money. Stop the bloody piece, whatever the stupid rules are. Sometimes the rules are just there to protect Manchester City and Liverpool, and not clubs like Burnley or whatever. But it's showing a lack of ambition. And I thought Pace was going to be completely different to the last chairman. Seemingly not. But the jury's still out. So it's disappointing news really from that perspective. Let's just hope it's better news in the next week or so. Because quite frankly, with the squad that we've got now, it isn't good enough to even get 15 points in the division at the moment. But you never know. If Scott can pour a few irons out the fire, you never know. But yeah, I'm a bit pessimistic now, to be honest with you, than I was a couple of weeks ago when I did the predictions. We'll soon find out. Moving on, we've got to move on to Morecambe. It's a sad case. It's been a bad year, 2025 for Morecambe. A team that were in League One less than 2 years ago are now been expelled. Well, they've not been expelled, they've been suspended from the conference. They've had their membership suspended because of the owners. I don't know who the owners are, but they've not. The staff at the club haven't had their full wages paid for over 2 months. Has the money run out? Have they done a Steve Dale and just sent another lovely football club to rack and ruin? Well, what Steve Dale... I mean, has people not learnt their lessons from 6 years ago when Steve Dale went bury into the ground? Seriously? Have they not learnt lessons? This is a football club now that have had their conference, have had their National League licence suspended, membership suspended until further notice. They can't play in the first 3 games of the season. So even if they did get back their membership back, they'd have to play catch up. And they've got a transfer embargo. Now, why aren't they not getting new owners through the club? There are people waiting to invest. So what's keeping these guys that are owning the club now? They could be 2, 3, 4 weeks away from their club being folded for good. And Morecambe as a town is struggling to attract visitors and things like that. They're getting the Eden project to the north and stuff, and there's massive investment in the town in that respect. But the town will die without its football club. We nearly saw that in 1987 with Burnley. The owners at Morecambe Football Club have let the club go to rack and ruin. It's so gut-wrenching because I've got a lot of time for the football club. I've been lucky to visit Morecambe Football Club on a couple of occasions at both their grounds. At Christie Park when I cheered them on in a playoff semi-final against Dagenham and Redbridge. It was a great match. They lost it on penalties, but just standing on that terrace at Christie Park, there might have been about 5,000 on that particular day, but it was a full house and the atmosphere was deafening. It really was. For a conference playoff final, semi-final, it was mayhem. It was bedlam, but I enjoyed it. And standing on the terraces for 2 hours, that was an experience in itself because you were swaying and all that. And then I went to what they call the Mazuma Stadium well, when I visited, it was the Globe Arena. We went in 2013 with Burnley. It was a pre-season friendly. Me, my brother and my friend went and we lost 1-0, but the fact is we looked at the ground. It's a nice compact little ground. It's a nice ground that should be holding a high standard of football than what they might be hosting now, because we don't know whether they will have a football team to come back to at the start of the season. One thing has to be done now. If people are serious about investing in Morecambe Football Club, they have to be serious, and they have to make sure that the club is saved, because we don't want another Bury situation of 2019 again, when Steve Dale just pushed the club against the wall. You know, this is another great football club that's had the last 20 years of its history has mainly been brilliant. Promotion to the conference, years of consolidation in League Two, then they got the promotion that they dreamed about 2 years ago, and then all of a sudden it's all gone badly wrong. I just hope that the current owners sell the club as quickly as possible, see a bit of sense, and give these fans what they want: a football club. That's everyone's dream in Morecambe right now, to have a football club, and to get owners in who care about their club and the ethos of it, and actually put some proper investment into it. And hopefully I'd like to see Morecambe get back in the Football League. They're a good little club. I just think it's ridiculous that certain people, with their lack of investment, or the lack of any get up and go, want to let a good little club like Morecambe go to the wall. It really saddens me to think that. Anyway, finally, on a positive note to finish, the Lionesses. What a fantastic result for them. I did the commentary on this channel on Sunday night. Yes, Spain had a lot of the game. They were fantastic. I thought they were brilliant. They had several great opportunities to bury England, but we didn't. You know what? I've seen England men's teams have very, very not care when it comes to the moments that matter. Serena Wiegman's girls showed up some England's men's teams of the past in a very, very in the best possible way possible. I'll tell you for why. They showed fight, they showed character, they showed this, they showed that. You know, I describe Lucy Bronze as being the gold standard of women's football at international level. She is the gold standard. I found out later that she played the rest of the tournament with a broken tibia or something or other. Now, if that's the case, and that's true, she wins more respect in my book for that, because would any of today's men's players do that? No, they'd shy off. She exemplifies what a lioness is all about, and what an England footballer should be, neither male or female. She cares. She cares about the 3 lines she wears on her chest. And you know what? Kudos to them. Chloe Kelly. Now, Joey Barton's made some really bad comments about women's football lately, and I condemn every little tweet that he's wrote about the Chloe Kelly one. The Chloe Kelly one, I would have said that penalty. I don't think you want to be facing a Chloe Kelly penalty, because what I saw and what 15, 16 million people around the country saw, she blasted that into the back of the net. Whether it was 90 kilometres an hour or 110 kilometres an hour, still massive enough power for a penalty going. Yes, there was that penalty shootout which we won in earlier on, where the penalties weren't exactly brilliant. But then again, could you blame any of the players for missing from England or Sweden? Because at the end of the day, if you're in a major tournament and there's people watching you around the world, and there's millions and millions of people, I'm talking hundreds of millions of people watching you around the world, you're going to be nervous. Penalties is a nervous business. I've seen worse penalty shootouts in men's football than one I saw. You know, so Joey hasn't got a leg to stand on with that argument neither. Neither has he got an leg to stand on against any of the Lionesses he's criticised, because I'll tell you something else. It's rich coming from listen, I don't want to slag the man off because he played for Burnley and he did well for us, but at the end of the day, you don't slag off women's football. Women's football is here to stay, whether he likes it or not, because women's football, if it gets more women or girls playing football, so much the better, because it needs the investment that it's been badly lacking, that had been lacking for years. And then when Serena took over, it's all blown up, and it's all gone one way. It's gone up. The participation of women's football is sky high right now, which is great for football in this country. And a winning England side, whether it's male or female, has got to be respected, and it's got to be celebrated. And when I commentated on that penalty shootout, the joy in my face, if any of you subscribers have known me on Facebook, you look at the joy on my face on Comscam the other night. I'm beside myself with joy, and I can't stop eulogising for 40 minutes about how courageous we were, how committed we were. Jess Carter, who's took a lot of unfair criticism with the racial stuff. I'll tell you what, if she had any doubters to prove wrong, she did it all in one night on Sunday night. She was a colossus. She didn't give anything away. She was absolutely superb. And I have to say, Serena and the girls, well done. You are true heroes as far as I'm concerned, or heroines. You are true heroines in my book, because you know. And I said there was talk about Serena getting an honorary dame, because obviously she's Dutch, isn't she? She's a foreign coach. But bloody hell. You know what? Give her the honorary dame. You know what? She deserved it to win 2 back-to-back Euro titles. That is some achievement. That's something that Sir Alf Ramsey didn't do, isn't it? He won the World Cup once and got a knighthood, didn't he? Yeah, I give her an honorary damehood, no problem. So if King Charles is watching, fellow Burnley fan, give that Serena a damehood, please, for the love of God. She's bloody deserved it. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed the first episode. I'll be back next week with another Football Weekly. Until then, have a very good rest of your week. I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye bye.